Good morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to Wednesday. It is May 17th. Hope you all are doing well this week as we head into some earnings today. We got some retail shops to talk about. We'll talk about that more when Dave joins us here in just a few moments. Hey, before we do that, though, let's not forget that there's so many things in this world, you and I, we just cannot control them. However, when it comes to your retirement portfolio, you can take some control by controlling the amount of risk you have in your portfolio. You need to know a couple things, though. You need to know how much risk you have in that portfolio. You need to know, two, how much risk you should have in that portfolio. And three, you need to know if you're in the right realm for the amount of risk you have in that portfolio. Give us a call, 863-382-0037 to walk through our core retirement design. We got Dave coming up next.
A payphone. Ask your grandparents what a payphone was, kid. They really were common back when. It's 8:40 at your Light FM. Time to check in on your money and see what's going on that world this morning. And sometimes Wall Street is kind of like another planet. Let's see how that planet is surviving with a little help from Phillip Statler from Statler Financial Services. Phillip, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Dave. I'm doing well today as, markets didn't do so well yesterday, but we got some green ink this morning. And I don't know, looking backwards, we got some decent news. Some of the economic news is kind of split down the middle, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way. It was kind of a mixed bag this morning. Backing up to yesterday, you mentioned it was red ink yesterday, which really kind of surprised me because President Biden and Speaker McCarthy met, and they both got out of the meeting making positive noises over whether or not they're going to negotiate their way into an actually in-time debt limit extension. But boy, oh boy, the Dow was down 336 points. Standard & Poor's was down by 26.5. NASDAQ down by 22, and the Russell 2000 down by 25. You'd think it was all bad news yesterday, and really, in truth, it wasn't, at least as far as the brinksmanship in Washington is concerned.
Well, yeah, at least in that part. But remember, in light of, retail sales and then the industrial production number came out, it was better than expected. And business inventories had fallen just a little bit more than expected. And then you have the home builders confidence come out, but a little better than expected. You would think, but I'm thinking that they may be, just not sure how all this is going to lay on the table of the Fed.
And that's the thing that makes the difference. And one of the observations I made while we were chatting this morning, a lot of these numbers, the last report that we're going to see before the next Federal Reserve meeting on the 13th of June, because now we're past the midpoint of this month, this is our last snapshot. So we had some fairly good reports, which I suspect you're probably right. A lot of investors are saying, oh, shoot, does this mean we're going to get another interest rate increase? So we're starting to turn into the good news is bad news scenario again.
Well, the other thing I see on my ticker sheet today is we had five Fed presidents that were out doing the rubber chicken circuit yesterday. So, you never know how that laid out on everybody.
And that's always a concern when we give them a chance. That's right. They're about ready to enter shutdown mode in about a week when they aren't going to be able to talk for the week and a half before the meeting, right?
I think so. So, yeah. So I had five different Fed presidents speaking. Yesterday afternoon, yesterday from 10 to 7 last night.
Oh, and we all know how much Wall Street just absolutely loves uncertainty. So you get a bunch of guys getting a couple of scotch and sodas in them and let them ruminate for a while, and it always gets dangerous. Brings us up to this morning, and we got a couple three numbers that were interesting. First of all, the Mortgage Bankers Association puts out their weekly mortgage count. Last week, the number of mortgage applications that we saw went up by 6.3%. Boy, talk about volatility, a little uptick on mortgage rates in the last 7 days, and this week they fell by 5.7%. You're never going to get a trend out of these guys, are you?
It doesn't look, at least not now. I mean, there's so much going on that affects those numbers. It's going to be a little while. I mean, let's face it. In the day, we had a nice trend down, but it's kind of up and down now like a roller coaster.
Oh, yeah, it sure is. Talking about a roller coaster, the big federal data dump this morning was on housing numbers, and they went in two completely opposite directions from what was expected. Housing starts month over month in April were expected to fall by 1.4%. They showed an increase of 2.2%, completely the opposite direction by an even bigger percentage than they expected them to go down. You mentioned that they also had, though, revised an earlier month housing number, kind of giving us a net zero, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, or maybe even the other direction, because they revised March down to a 4.5% drop.
Oops. Yeah,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, yeah, March was only a 0.8% drop officially. So, yeah, down 3%, net down a little bit. We might actually come close to making that 1.4% down number then net. The other side was an unpleasant surprise. Building permits, they expected them to be flat during the month of April, and they showed up 1.5% down. So I think now we already knew it was there. There's kind of a trend downward in the home building industry, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, definitely, and commercial stuff is starting to slow down, especially office type stuff and retail. And then obviously housing. I mean, we're not seeing it here in Florida, but across the country, we're seeing housing slow down.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're the lucky ones so far. I'm still seeing houses looking like they're planting brick shavings and they're growing out of nowhere around here, but we're kind of an outlier on that. And for the sake of our local economy, that's good news.
It really is. I mean, I was driving yesterday off the Panther Parkway, and I don't go out there very often, but I see they got a whole new development going out there, laying the pipe and then working that way. So I thought, oh my gosh, that's another whole development they're putting out there.
Oh yeah, there's a big development past the county board a few months ago permitting that. That's going to be a pretty good sized development up there. And in my neighborhood, I'm seeing houses going up for sale and selling relatively quick. It's nice to be an outlier sometimes, isn't it?
Well, yeah, especially when it's a positive outlier.
Yeah, absolutely. Mentioned McCarthy and Biden talking about the debt ceiling, and that's going to be the overriding panic thing. The longer it goes, the closer it's going to get to being panic. They're starting to actually talk negotiations. The White House dutifully says, we're not talking about the debt ceiling, we're talking about the budget. And McCarthy is saying, we're not talking about the budget, we're talking about fixing the debt ceiling. And things go forward, but neither one will talk about specifics. If they're sitting down and they're talking, it's good news. I think we both agree.
Absolutely is good news because, it's taken them a while to get there.
Yeah, between that and Congress trying to understand artificial intelligence, I found it kind of amusing that the company that basically invented it told Congress they need regulation. That's kind of odd for any private industry going in front of Congress, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Do you really want to invite those morons into your business? Anyway, I've got a low opinion of both parties. I make that pretty obvious. It is earnings season. We keep going. We had one big behemoth name in retail reported. How did Target do this quarter anyway?
So Target actually did well. They beat substantially on earnings. They came in like $2.05 versus $1.76 it was expected. Now revenue, though, another story. I mean, they beat on revenue, but not by much. I mean, in our terms, we're talking about pennies, but they did beat. However, when we look at their forward-looking numbers, that they expect those things to remain sluggish in the current quarter. They think that they're going to have single-digit decreases in same-store sales. And so a little bit tough, though, I got to say. I mean, they were down earlier in the morning, but they're actually back up by about 0.8% right now.
That's a pleasant surprise. Talk about same-store sales going down even in single-digit numbers. That generally make the day traders head for the hills, won't it?
Yeah, it will. And so that's some good news there. And then, like you said yesterday, we got TJ Maxx companies reported. And their first quarter revenue missed by just a little bit, and their earnings projection for this next quarter is I mean, I don't say it's significant, but the traders are going to think it's significantly off what they expected it to be. Even though the first quarter topped those estimates. I mean, they had a good first quarter all the way around. They're trading up 1% this morning.
Okay, I'm kind of surprised that TJ Maxx is as an overstock reseller business plan wouldn't be looking forward to a pretty decent quarter. If the big name brand stores are having off projections, I would think TJ Maxx would be happy with the overstocks.
Well, I think they would, but I think they're still having difficulty getting overstocks. I think the big boxes are holding on to things longer, but before they turn them loose, trying to sell them for whatever they can in their own store before they discount them to basically nothing to the other retailers. So I think that's probably part of it there, and just the whole, when the economics start to slow down, everybody quits spending money, even the people that visit TJ Maxx.
I suppose, yeah, and as I was thinking about it, as we were talking about it, yeah, that's right. There's also about a 3-quarter delay as far as the overstock stuff, because TJ Maxx is now stocking up the summer wear that came out of the big box stores last summer, and we were going through a major inventory drawdown back then.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense. When I put words to it, it makes sense. I have to kind of noodle it through out loud sometimes.
I got one more report for you, and that's it. Wynn Resorts, the casino operator, they got, well, it's not even earnings for them, but it's a good number. They got upgraded to overweight from equal weight from Barclays, and that's giving them a nice little bump this morning. They're up almost 2.3%.
Well, that's good news. As we continue a pretty busy week, yesterday was a down day on Wall Street with numbers over 1% down on the major exchanges, so it's kind of hard to call that flat in contrast to the first couple of days of the week. Any good news this morning, 45 minutes before we open?
Hey, I see green ink on the indexes. We got the Dow up almost 0.4%, as well as the S&P 500 up about 0.4. NASDAQ 100 is lagging a little bit. It's only up about 0.25% right now. On the other side, with silver, it's been a roller coaster ride for silver, and it's back down today a little over 0.1%, down back below $24 to $23.86 an ounce. And same thing for gold. Gold sliding this morning a third, and it's down below 2,000 again to $1,987 an ounce. And crude oil is down from yesterday's when we spoke about it yesterday morning, but it's up a tad from the close at $70.92.
All righty, checking the overseas markets. The Asian Rim is responding again to those slow Chinese numbers they reported yesterday, plus our performance yesterday. The Hong Kong market's down a full 2% at the close this morning. Everybody had a little bit of red ink to worry about. Over in Europe, they're kind of flat this morning. I got some up, some down. Nobody's over 0.1 of a point up or down at this point, so it's a real flat day in Europe today. Planning a retirement ahead of time is always a good idea. The more time you got, the better the plan you can get. How do I find you to work that plan out, Phillip?
Dave, these are exactly the reason that we developed the core retirement design, that we can help people design that retirement they always dreamed of. Give us a call, 863-382-0037, and then join us again for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning, on Highlands News Talk 730 and 95.3 FM.
And one more time back here tomorrow. Actually, two more. It's only Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's don't cut the week too short yet.
Why?
I got work to do.
I'm cool with that. I'll see you then, Phillip. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Thanks. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler.
Folks, again, I want to thank you for joining us today. Again, if you're getting close to retirement, you're 5 years out or less, please give us a call. Let's make sure that you're on the right track for the retirement you always dreamed of. That number is 863-382-0037. Hey, with that, I hope you'll join us again tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great one. Bye now.